It's a beautiful night for football, and it's a beautiful city that we have found ourselves in for this week of SFL action as the Portland Fleet are in town to take on the Carolina Skyhawks. Andy Hamilton along with Alden Bleeker on the coverage for you tonight. Rochelle Colston and Tom Rahman running the Strats truck for you here live from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's 38 degrees, a little bit chilly this evening, but otherwise clear and ready for football. Alden, this is going to be a matchup that these two teams are going to have to fight it out in. They played twice before, both times a defensive battle, and I don't expect anything different tonight.
Yeah, very close. Previously meeting in season 16 and season 15, both times the score was settled by less than 6 points, and we're going to see another close battle here tonight.
Yeah, both teams are having seasons so far that they'd like to right the ship on, no pun intended. Portland 0-3 coming into this one. Carolina 1-2. Someone is going to escape with a victory, and both teams are hoping that it's going to be them. You hit the nail on the head, Alden. Both games being played here in the past. Both games before went to Carolina. The Skyhawks have the one win this season, Portland with none. And the interesting part, Alden, is the strength for Portland, the run game on their offensive side of the ball, and Carolina's strength on their defense is their rushing defense. I'm very interested to see how this one ends up.
Yeah, and Ezekiel Love, like you said, has been one of the transformative runners in this league, leading the league in average yards per carry at 7.2 and fourth in total rushing yards at 429. He is going to be a huge part of their offense here tonight.
Speaking of their offense, they will start with the football. Ball is away, and the Portland Fleet will have the return off of the goal line out across the 20. And, only to the 20. Never ended up really crossing it there. And that is where we will see O.J. Bruin, the second-year man, lead this offense out. 6'6", 219. Talk about size, Alden.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the privilege of playing alongside O.J. Bruin. I know he is a fighter, he is a champion, and he has that mindset to lead his team to victory.
Trying to get it going. Had 2 touchdowns to 4 picks last week. Going to try and stay clean here. First play from scrimmage is a throw outside, and that'll be a 4-yard completion there.
Well, and this is really what O.J. Bruin has been doing well this season. He's been struggling very slightly in terms of interceptions and not quite being able to march down the field like he'd like to, but he has some great receivers, and if we can see him continue to get passes off like this, I think he'll be able to put up a bunch of numbers here.
Sitting around 65% completion percentage this season, and there is the counter to the passing game. Ezekiel Love has entered the chat and has the first down.
Well, Ezekiel Love is one of those runners, like we said, just a huge, huge power runner. If you give him a little bit of space, he can blow it wide open. A great response by Carolina there just to limit him to the first down yardage.
These defenses are going to be playing all night to try and stop the other team and keep this one in a close game. Bruin wants the deep shot, and that is batted away right at the other end of the field. Nice defensive play from Tristan Hatley. He was looking for Valentine.
Well, that's a great defensive play by Hatley, as you said. But O.J. Bruin does have the deep ball in his offense. You know, we saw earlier this season that fantastic Hail Mary pass into quadruple coverage, and maybe maybe that's the strategy for O.J. Bruin in this game, is to have these deep routes in their system.
We'll see if they go deep here on 2nd and 10. 10 minutes to go in the first. This drive for Portland, the first of the game. Good, well protected, fires down the middle and collects. The catch made there. Nelson Lozano Jr. just shy of midfield.
Well, that is just exactly what they were trying to do last time. Nelson Lozano Jr., finds the open space in the coverage, and O.J. Bruin just able to float it up to him. He goes up and grabs it.
Yeah, they call that tall ball. That's 6'6" Nelson Lozano Jr. taking the ball from a 6'6" O.J. Bruin, and Carolina really doesn't have a defender that tall, so the ball just goes over everyone's head. That next pass is complete. Valentine, first down yardage there, and this Portland offense is moving really smooth.
Yeah, when Portland have have had these losses, they really have struggled to move the ball on offense, whether passing or sometimes even with the ball in Ezekiel Love's hands. So this is a very good port for Portland so far, just having the ability to move down the field.
Have a new set of downs here. They will throw again. Oh, wide open receiver. Oh, went back into the middle, spun around, but Benjamin Warner for a moment there, Alden, looked like he was off to the races.
Yeah, that was a scary moment if you're a Carolina Skyhawks fan, just way open in the middle of the field. A good job by the coverage to close up there from Carolina, though.
In the previous meetings, there's been only one instance where either team has made it over 20 points. Other than that, everyone stays below 20. Defensive battle. Here's Love, left side. He'll pick up 7, gets down to the 12, and just like that, the Fleet knocking on the doorstep.
Man, and how prototypical of an OJ Bruin run is that? Just getting to the outside, finding where there are no defenders, and Carolina all of a sudden in a position where they have to respond to him immediately.
Skyhawks defense built with linebackers and defensive linemen across the board. So far having trouble containing Ezekiel Love. Left side run again. Love with a little shake and bake to the pylon. Touchdown, Portland. They drive down the field on the opening drive and put 6 on the board on the road.
Well, Ezekiel Love he's really run this season by being a power back, just getting to the outside and getting downfield. But there he breaks one tackle, he breaks two tackles darn near, and that is just the value that Ezekiel Love brings to this team is blowing these defenses wide open.
A well-orchestrated drive from Portland. They go right down the field. O.J. Bruin, 4 of 5 on the drive. They run 8 total plays. They go 81 yards, and they add 7 points onto the board to take an early lead over the Carolina Skyhawks. And there was really only 1 or 2 plays that you would pick out of there and maybe call something different. Other than that, really clean start to the game.
Yeah, and even the plays that didn't quite go well, or quite go with like they were hoping that drive, really there were positive things to see. OJ Bruin having these deep routes in his tree this week, and this is really a promising offensive drive for Portland here.
Now we will see what Carolina can do with it. A little bit of a short kick. This one will come out across the 25 to the 27, and that is where the Skyhawks offense will start setting up. Let's take you through this Carolina offense. Matt South is the 6th-year quarterback who leads the way. Logan Jack, Hattori Hanzo returning to play this week, along with Heath McDaniel Jr., Sam Avalis, Harish Prasad, the receiving threats, along with Tony Zoma and Vince DeSantis. Whistle Jones will handle the kicking. Desmond Doss does the punting for the Carolina Skyhawks. They come out and find themselves down 7-0. They'll go left side for Logan Jack. Jack off of 1, still on his feet, and out to the 39, and he looked dangerous there. Carolina matching the run game of Portland with runs of their own.
Well, Logan Jack has, as much as we talk about Ezekiel Love being a runner, Logan Jack really does a great job here of following his blocks and getting to the outside, maybe getting a little too ambitious with that spin and swim move at the end there, giving the Portland defense time to catch up with him. But he really can be an explosive runner in his own right. And there you see Matt South, the veteran quarterback.
South, one of the leaders in Carolina, and he'll dump outside here. I believe that might be Hattori Hanzo there off the side of the field. We'll get a better look. No, Vince DeSantis came off of the tight end spot. Funk wrapped him up there on the outside.
Yeah, and this is we've seen so far. We were talking about going into this game how it was going to be a defensive battle, but both of these teams so far are doing a good job moving the ball.
Carolina's Matt South has only given up 2 sacks this season. Very impressive. They'll have to look out for Gary Burney on that defensive line. Logan Jack, though, the Wolverine out across the 25 and the 20 and all the way down to the 15. And now Carolina's in scoring position.
Wow. Well, you were talking about how successful their offensive line has been at preventing sacks, but here they open up all the space in the world for Logan Jack on the outside, and just a foot race for the Portland defense to even catch up with him.
Tori Hanzo helping lead the way there from the fullback position. They get him back after a little bit of injury last week. This Portland Fleet defense usually very stout on this opening drive, trying to dissect what Carolina has brought to the table. From the 15, they'll go Jack again, and that time Hanzo missed a little bit of a block there on the defender, and Bob Funk made the play. Let's take you through the Portland defense. Robert Braher, Derwin Nuevo, Bernard Patterson, and Gary Burney, the defensive lineman. Burney, 3.5 sacks this season already. Mel Davis, Khalil Thomas, Gary Clem, and Brody Gulch, the linebackers. Chris Stock, Derek Majors, Leo Morris, the cornerbacks. Funk and Bernard Smith are the safeties. Jack powers his way up the middle. It'll bring up 3rd and 3.
Yeah, this has been a good offensive drive for Carolina, but they're starting to lose a little bit of steam here. Portland, one of their biggest strengths pretty much all season has been their ability to limit the damage of these high power offenses, and we're seeing it again here. The real problem for Portland is that they haven't been able to generate turnovers, but they are quite a stern defense.
Give up the middle. Jack! Oh, they're going to mark him short.
Ooh.
It was really close.
That looked very close from up here, and I almost wonder if we're going to see the challenge flag or if they're just going to take the 3 points.
You could challenge. You could take 3 points. You also could go for it here from the 6 on 4th and 1. All options available. Jack, the only back in the backfield. Yep, offense still out there. We'll see if they end up snapping it. Down to 15, 3-4 look out of Portland. That is their run-stopping defense. Play clock down to 8. Defense not biting on this hard count at all from Matt South. And that'll be a timeout from Carolina. I'm going to say this, and I don't know, some expert in timing will tell me differently, but you also, you could still challenge now, right? You could have challenged instead of taking the timeout. You could have also, potentially ran a play. Lots of options there on a 4th and short when you thought you might have got the first down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're going to use the timeout, then I think it makes sense to challenge if you've already decided that you're going to use the timeout. I mean, you might as well take the gamble and hope that it pays off.
Carolina elects not to. Instead, they'll send out Whistle Jones, 5th-year man, 6'1", 260. It's a big boy, and he puts this one right up and through from 22 yards, 7-3. Carolina finds themselves back in the game. Offensive coordinator Shan Varner takes the Harish Prasad-led offense down the field, and they are able to put 3 points on the board. And Matt South, in doing so, 1 of 1, 9 yards, but it was the Logan Jack show. Get this, Alden. The folks at home won't believe this. Tom Rahman and Rochelle Colston keeping the stats. 5 carries, 58 yards already for Logan Jack. He says, Ezekiel, who I am the feature back of tonight's game. Here is the return off this left side. Morris, a dangerous return man. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game all into one. Team strategies are executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy, and we are the best football game going on this Sunday. No doubt about that. I will put my money where my mouth is. OJ Bruin under pressure and dropped. Carolina gets to him, and Phil Hall rings the bell.
Oh, man, and OJ Bruin has been under so much pressure all year, but this is just a fantastically drawn-up play. I mean, he gets one swim move in, and he is in the pocket. That is an efficient defensive play there.
Defensive line for Carolina, not to be discounted either. Some really good players on there, some all-stars at the defensive tackle positions, and OJ Bruin might have to be a little careful. 5-step drop here. Pressure coming. Was able to get that one off. Let's go through this Carolina defense for you. Ryan Ray, John Nevels are the defensive ends. You just heard from Phil Hall, but Christopher Colon combines with him. Those guys both all-stars. Clint Hendershot comes over from D.C. Some Shan Varner connections there. David Ware and Shravan Prasad, also linebackers. Tristan Hatley, Mark Martin, and Davidson Joseph are the cornerbacks. Daniel Valentine, Monte Wyatt, Kane Vasquez, the safeties. Here is the flip outside. That catch is made, and they will get the first down
Wow.
yardage. Will Portland. Huge play there outside by Benjamin Warner.
Yeah, and that is huge. Portland keeping this drive alive. I mean, really, that's been one of their big issues on offense, I think, is finding a consistent rhythm. And so far, they've been able to do that here.
Yeah, just enough yards there to evade what the sack pushed them into really rough territory. That's got to be a good sign if you're a Fleet fan. Love shakes off one, will not get out of the second one, but man, made a guy miss in the hole. That was a pretty play.
Yeah, and Ezekiel Love, as much as he has speed, as much as he has power, really this agility is really one of his biggest strengths. He can make you miss all day long, and he almost set up a big run there by doing just that.
An all-star last season, first all-star game for Love. They'll feed him again off this left side. Oh, what a spin move there. Makes it 3rd and 2. Let's go through this Portland offense for you. You've met O.J. Bruin. You've met Ezekiel Love. The fullback tonight, Daniel Long, taking the field for the first time for the Portland Fleet. Israel Adams, Benjamin Warner, Mike Savage, and Gene Valentine are the receiving threats. Nelson Lozano Jr., the tight end, and Jaden Taylor, the anchor of the offensive line at center. The rookie second-round pick leads the way. Bruin under center will give, and Love is shouldered down,
Ooh.
not going to get there. Kane Vasquez, the strong safety, met him in the backfield and said, "That's all for you, sir."
Yeah, just nowhere for him to go, and oh
Hold the
my.
phone out, and Ryan Ray, the defensive end, still down on the field.
Yeah, and then we're gonna go back to this play here. Just nowhere for Ezekiel Love to go. I mean, there was nowhere for him to go up the middle, and that's precisely where he was going. Just completely closed up by Carolina there.
Ray might have got ran into there in the gaggle of players. Hopefully nothing serious, maybe just a stinger. We'll have to wait and get the report. Carolina not having the best luck this season with injuries, something that happens, and they are fighting through and doing their best. They will get the ball back for their offense, and that right there is huge, Alden, because when you settled for the field goal, you just worried that, hey, if Portland can put up this kind of offensive firepower all night, the Skyhawks might be in trouble.
Yeah, really, that's been one of I think the big concerns for Carolina. The Portland offense has been struggling, but these players are no slouches. You have OJ Bruin, you have Ezekiel Love, and you have all these great receivers. They really are just a threat waiting to happen.
Give up the middle, Logan Jack with room, and Jack rips off another 9 yards. Huge play, and Logan
Oof.
Jack, get this, Alden, clearing the way and almost has the average yards per attempt against this Portland rush defense already.
Yeah, and I mean, this has really been Logan Jack has really been the focus of Carolina's offense. No, not to take anything away from the rest of their offense, but he has really been opening up space for himself here.
Up to around 67 yards, and they'll flip it out to him off this left side. Has the first down. 95 yards is what Portland's defense usually gives up on the ground per game, and he's closing in on that.
Yeah, and really, this is an opportunity for Carolina to figure out their rhythm on offense. They have this run game going, and you would think that we're going to see the passing game start to be mixed up behind it.
Flip outside. That one is caught, turning upfield and spinning. Pickup of 5 there on the outside for Heath McDaniel Jr. McDaniel Jr. is a star player for Carolina. Made the All-Star game in season 15, 4th season in the SFL.
Yeah, it's really a 1-2 punch on offense. You have Logan Jack, and you also have to deal with Heath McDaniel. You can really cause some trouble when they're both online.
Ooh, dangerous pass, ill-advised and almost picked off. Bernard Smith there for Portland has seen that play one too many times.
Well, man, and we were talking about earlier in this game how Portland have sometimes struggled to get those turnovers this season, but Bernard Smith taking fate into his own hands, playing up and getting towards that ball. You have to wonder if we're going to see a pickoff here sooner rather than later.
Carolina will smartly change formations here. 3rd and 5, an important one if they want to keep this drive alive. They will hand it off left side. Logan Jack not going anywhere. Portland prepared for the run play, and Robert Brawer brings him down at the 38.
Yeah, and just as there was nowhere to go for Ezekiel Love on the Portland drive previously, that we see there again, Portland just closing up the middle as soon as they recognize that that's where he's going, and there's just nowhere for him to go there.
Punt is away. That is Desmond Doss who will send it away, the undrafted rookie. This return from Morris only gets out to the 26. Morris, a kick return touchdown, so dangerous on special teams. The battle between Doss and Morris will be fun to watch tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these very close games can sometimes come down to those special teams. You know, we'll have to see if potentially one deep punt or one field goal can be the difference between victory and defeat.
O.J. Bruin back out. 6 of 7 tonight so far. 70 yards, 10 yards per attempt. 1st and 10 give is to Love. Love with speed will beat the defender to the edge, and he was on pace to get him in the backfield.
Well, and that looked like, certainly, as you say, certainly looked like that play was going to get blown up. But Ezekiel Love just really using his speed and elusiveness. I mean, Ezekiel Love is just such a rare combination of speed and power. It makes it really hard to deal with as a defender.
Here's Bruin. Steps up and dropped. Carolina was there. Christopher Colon with the play and the sack, and that will end the first quarter. Portland 7, Carolina 3. We're 1 quarter down, 3 more to go. Don't go anywhere. It's the Simulation Football League on Twitch. Raleigh, North Carolina, Andy Hamilton along with Alden Bleeker, Tom Raymond, and Rochelle Colston here. For Carolina and Portland, the Fleet have a 4-point lead, and now Bruin will fire outside, and it'll not get close to the sticks. 4th down, they'll have to punt.
Yeah, after 2 really solid offensive drives to start with Portland, that's a bit of a struggle there. Israel Adams doing a great job, though, to be fair, to get to this pass. OJ Bruin finding his open man, and although this is going to be a punt, certainly for Portland, you're continuing to see these good things that Portland have been doing on offense. They're continuing to happen, and so you hope, if you're a Portland fan, over a long enough time period that continues to result in yardage and points.
A little bit of a high snap is corralled by the punter, Dominic Birkin. Birkin sends it away. Carolina sets up for the return. Oh, that spin almost got the man loose, and Carolina would have been off to the races if Avalos could have broken 1 or 2 more tackles.
Yeah, this is really a great field position for Carolina as well. You know, he got maybe 2 or 3 yards on that spin move, but this is looking like a potentially dangerous drive for Carolina here.
They will go with a single back set, plenty of players on the line, and South will check it out to Logan Jack on the screen. Jack spins off to Logan Jack, trying to get to the line to gain. He won't, and he will get hit hard there at the 48.
Well, I mean, Logan Jack has already been such a huge part of this offense so far. 9.6 yards per carry, his longest, 37 yards. I mean, why not include him in the passing attack at this point?
Same formation. We'll see what they do with Jack in the backfield on 2nd and 1. Another flip out to him. Has a blocker in front. Shakes a man and then is pushed out of bounds at the 48 of Portland now, or excuse me, the 40, now into Fleet territory.
Well, this is something we've seen more and more in sort of this era of the elusive power runner in the SFL. We're seeing more and more of these designed outlet passes where you just get a little bit of space for the halfback and you treat them as if it was a run. You know, it's just a little bit of a forward pitch. And that really is a trend I think we're going to continue to see across the SFL as players like Doug Brown and Bullet Boletsky continue to mature and gain experience.
Pressure coming, that one, errantly thrown, and it falls incomplete. Derwin Nuevo supplied the heat.
Yeah, and man, that it's been OJ Bruin who's under pressure. A great job of sending from Portland here, and don't look now, but they are really starting to toughen up here on defense.
Two in the backfield, 4-3 look out of Portland. South, 5 of 7 so far. He'll give to Jack, and he's
Ooh.
punished. Oh, my, huge hit there for the Fleet coming from Gary Clem.
Well, the pressure coming up the middle again for Portland. I mean, we've really seen them do a good job of limiting that option for Carolina, and that was just so huge to get them on a long third down here.
3rd and 12. Shotgun look from Matt South. 3 receivers to the bottom, 5 in a total. He will look to throw it. Going to take the deep shot down the middle of the field and finds the wide open receiver to the 6. Huge play for the Skyhawks.
Well, and this has really been something that's been successful for both of these quarterbacks when we have these deep routes that get past the secondary, and he is just wide open. I mean, my goodness, he really burned the Portland defense. Portland just lucky to get him down there before he got to the end zone.
Had a step on his man, and it sets up Carolina 1st and goal, knocking on the doorstep. South to throw it. Wide open receiver. Can't get to the goal line, but a nice catch there by DeSantis. 2nd of the night makes it 2nd and goal.
Yeah, a great pitch and catch there. This has really been a well-designed drive by Carolina. It's just now they've got to get it into the end zone. The first time they were in the red zone, we saw the same thing where they were able to get down, but the Portland defense toughened up.
Single back is Jack. Here is South under center to throw. Will fire, and Logan Jack will walk into the end zone for a Carolina touchdown. The Skyhawks have taken the lead.
Well, never mind about struggling to get into the end zone. We saw earlier in this drive, they used those drawn outlet plays to get them down the field. And again, using it here, just a ton of space for Logan Jack on the outside. That is well drawn offense and well executed to boot.
Logan Jack, 4 receptions, 22 yards, and the score there. Those 4 can add on to his season total of 21 receptions, which coming into the week was 15th most in the SFL. And he's added another receiving touchdown, his 2nd of the season to go along with 3 on the ground. 5 total touchdowns this year for Logan Jack. And I'll remind you, Alden, he didn't even play all of last game.
Yeah, and that really makes it all the more impressive to just return to the place that you filled for your team before, just being such a huge part of this offense here tonight.
Carolina has found themselves out in front, and they will kick it away. The Portland Fleet await their offense's chances to get back into this football game. Leo Morris is the man waiting for it. Morris out across the 20, and just out there is where their offense will set up. Do you have a hot take? Want to show your appreciation for the SFL or show some love to your teammates? The league's new show, SFL Crunch Time, is looking to hear from you. You can post a video on Twitter with your take or shout out and use the hashtag SFL Crunch Time. You may just appear on the show this week. Want more details? You can DM Josh Zirkle on Discord, and we'll see you in Crunch Time. Nickel look here out of Carolina, and OJ Bruin will look to throw against it. Wants the deep shot. Step behind the defender, but the play is made. I think that's Hatley over there in coverage on Valentine again.
Man, and that tip drill almost set up almost set up Gene Valentine to go deep there. I mean, a great athletic play to even get it up into the air. But that, oh man, I guess he must have lost it in the lights or something because he was still wide open to catch that tip, I believe.
No harm, no foul. They will set up on 2nd and 10, sitting at their own 20. 7:51 to go here in the second. Here is the play action from Bruin. Fires, open receiver, spins inside, and that is Israel Adams who has the catch to the 33.
Yeah, also a former Memphis alumni, Israel Adams, doing a great job there just to get open. He running this corner out here, just finding the space where there are no defensive backs and creating space for OJ Bruin to work.
To look at Kane Vasquez, this Carolina defense got a stop on their last time out. That's what helped their offense to take the lead. Trying to get another one here. Give Ezekiel Love off of two. Love. Oh, man, he turned a 2-yard loss into a 2-yard gain. Huge play.
And that looked like a street ball video. Those videos you see of people showing off their skills at the basketball court, just spinning in place, trying to create a bunch of space for himself, but just closed down on by the Carolina defense there.
Three receivers riding a tight end. Bruin wants the money ball, and they cash the check. Huge reception there to the outside. That's Israel Adams again.
Well, we've seen OJ Bruin really going for these long passes this game, and it really works to perfection there. Again, the routes just stretching out the defensive, and he's one on one. He goes up and grabs it.
Better positioning than Tristan Hatley, and Adams will bring it down for a new set of downs. 1st and 10 from the Carolina 42, just about 15 yards away from field goal range. 2 in the backfield. They will give it to Love again, and this time Love's going nowhere. Carolina's defense has buckled down after that opening drive.
Yeah, this is really what we're seeing on both sides of the ball, I would say. Both teams really having to buckle down and prevent these big games. It's making it difficult, as much as we're seeing OJ Bruin and his receivers and the offense of Carolina succeed. It's really tough for them.
3 receivers wide. Bruin protected well. Fires outside. Caught. 7-yard completion there. Gene Valentine.
Well-run corner route, pitch and catch by OJ Bruin. We've seen that multiple times, but just the coverage is just right there for Carolina. We've typically seen these corner routes going a little deeper, and we'll have to see with the short third down pass. We'll have to see what they do here.
3rd and 3. Need to get out to the 32. Here is the give. Love has that and more. Ezekiel Love. Oh, love me long time. Touchdown, Portland. They strike.
And there it is, the lightning strike touchdown by Ezekiel Love. He is such a huge part of this team's rushing offense because of his ability to exploit space, and that's exactly what he does there. He gets an inch, and he blows it open by a mile.
Huge touchdown from Ezekiel Love to blow this thing wide open. Portland now back in front, and Alden, we talked about it. Neither team, or only once in this history of 2 games between these teams, has the winner or loser gone over 20 points. Both of them are just 2 scores away from going over 20 right now. Kick up and good from Portland. Now 14-10. Fleet on top of Carolina. We're in a shootout. Jack's data has the over-under at 51.5. That would put both teams over 20 points if I had to guess.
Yeah, and certainly this has been a very close game. Both of these teams have been investing pretty heavily in their offenses since their previous encounters, and you're really starting to see it can convert into yards and points here for both of these teams.
Short kick return here out across the 25. Adjustment made and out to the 27. Last time these 2 teams met, Alden, the quarterback for the Portland Fleet was none other than the man taking the field now for the Carolina Skyhawks, Matt South. In that game, 19 of 26, 157 yards, 1 score, but Portland fell 19-24 to this Skyhawk team who was led by Xander Gold. Carolina must have liked what they saw. They brought Matt South over to the Skyhawks, and South has led the way ever since. Give up the middle, and South will give it to Logan Jack, who picks up 6.
Well, and to your point, Matt South has been having quite a game here tonight. 8 for 10 with a 7.6 yards per attempt, a quarterback rating of above 130. He really, although in a lot of ways it's been the Logan Jack show on offense for Carolina, he's been certainly having his presence felt as well.
Give Jack. Oh, I mean, he would have been hard pressed to get out of that one.
Yeah, and just this has been what Portland have been doing on defense so well all game, sending the pressure up the middle and really eliminating the space for these receivers and running backs to work. Really you need to find that space, and Portland are just not giving it to them.
5 receivers wide. South alone in the shotgun. 4-man rush from Portland. Has time, fires on the corner route.
Oh,
Huge completion. Heath McDaniel Jr. hauls it in, going up and over Derek Majors.
well, and we've been talking about Matt South's veteran presence all game, and you just see there, the ability to step up in a high pressure third down situation, gets this deep route and just puts it up there, figures the exact ball placement needed, and that is a great job of reading this defense by Matt South and a great connection to boot.
South had to play this defense every week in practice a couple seasons ago. Now finds himself in Carolina, and he's 9 of 11 tonight so far. Make that 10 of 12 with a huge completion again. Heath McDaniel Jr., third catch of the night.
Well, and that perhaps is the solution to the pressure that Portland has been sending. You see him here; he just steps up into the pocket, gets set, and he just throws it very quickly. Taking the first open man. That could very well be, like we said, the solution to this pressure.
McDaniel leading the way with catches. Haven't heard from Harish Prasad tonight. Give left side. Logan Jack with blockers. Logan Jack, the Wolverine, to the end zone, and a touchdown for Carolina. We're putting on a running show tonight.
Wow, tit for tat between Logan Jack and Ezekiel Love. He goes out to the outside there, and just like Ezekiel Love did on the previous drive, takes an inch and blows it wide open. I mean, how do you stop him? I mean, they did their darn best to take away his route, and he just did not have a single man in front of him.
Second score of the night for Logan Jack. First one on the ground. He had one in the air earlier, and now he's around 15 touches for over 100 yards and 2 scores. Logan Jack coming back in a big way. The Skyhawks missed him last week with an injury, and now he's saying, I bet you guys missed me a bunch. Here I am. 3:34 to play here in the second, and it is 14-17. These teams going back and forth. Alden, it's been a great game so far.
Absolutely. We were talking about this being a close contest before, but I don't think we could have predicted just how enjoyable this game has been.
Portland on the return out across the 25. Oh, Morris almost got it moving there on the return. Well, Alden, when we were talking about some of the keys to the game, for Portland, what did you have in terms of offense that they needed to get done, and are they doing it so far?
Well, as I wrote down in my notes, OJ Bruin and Gene Valentine really are two players that need to step up. And while Gene Valentine hasn't been the sole receiver, OJ Bruin certainly finding his receivers well here so far tonight. And really, I think that has been what Portland has done so well on offense. Ezekiel Love has been a fantastic runner. As we keep talking about, their defense has been stern and very hard to break. But really, OJ Bruin and his receivers have been the missing piece. Not the case tonight. Very much there.
Yeah, 11 of 13 is Bruin. He finds Valentine right on cue on that last play. To your credit, Alden. 84% completion percentage for number 1. Handoff right side. Love makes one man look silly and has the first down at the 38.
Yeah, and it's really this two-prong attack, to sort of continue the point there. When you have a quarterback like OJ Bruin, who has the skill level, who has the physical ability, who has the intangibles, and a running back who can, stretch the defense down the field, it really opens up your options as a coach.
4-3 look. Here is the give up the middle. Love spins, then is tackled from behind there after picking up 8 and is fired up.
Yeah, and this is really sort of a slow march down the field for Portland. We're not seeing, which feels a bit silly to say, but with how Ezekiel Love can just suddenly bolt down the field, really just chunking away here are Portland.
Two tight ends, bottom of the screen, fullback offset to the right. Here is the give to Love. Love up the middle, shakes and
Oh,
bakes. Oh, spins back inside, and that was the wrong choice. Paid the price on the hit from Monte Wyatt, but not before picking up another fleet first down.
yeah, Monte Wyatt just stepping up and putting a little stank on that hit.
2 minutes to play here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Portland 14, Carolina 17. This is the SFL on Twitch. Tom Rahman, Rochelle Colston on the stats truck for us. He's Alden Bleeker. I am Andy Hamilton. And this is the Simulation Football League. Give left side. That is Ezekiel Love, and he will pick up 5.
Yeah, and the Ezekiel Love is such a big part of this offense, and he's doing so much this drive. Really, the Carolina defense continuing to swarm him like they have been trying to do all game here. But like we've been seeing there, he's still continuing to chunk away at this yardage here.
Easily has made the first man miss a couple of times. Now off to the left. The first man will not make the tackle again. Love down to the 32. It's almost like he just has a free one the first time. First guy's going to miss no matter what.
Yeah, man, human highlight reel is Ezekiel Love here tonight, just slipping and sliding and spinning and dodging. I mean, that's really how he's been able to open up this yardage so many times here.
Two receivers. Here is Bruin. Pressure coming. Bruin fires. Oh, laced it in there to the 21. Huge play will set up 1st and 10 again. Bruin under pressure. Completes across the middle. That's another catch for Gene Valentine. 2nd and 1. Now down to 40 seconds to go in the half. Bruin, 5-step drop, fires across the middle, deflected and incomplete. Carolina had seen enough of that play right there. Clint Hendershot with the pass deflection.
Well, as I was going to say, certainly an interesting decisions to be made here by Portland about clock management. Do you really try to get it as close to 0 as you can? That certainly seems to be what they're doing, just heading back to the line, playing clock over and over.
2 in the backfield. That is the fullback and Love. They give Love the carry, and he shakes and bakes, and Love down to the 4, and a timeout from the fleet. Well timed. They have 32 seconds.
Yeah, man, and Ezekiel Love just rumbling down the middle, not really concerned. I mean, just how he's running through the crowd here. I mean, really, defense all around him, and he is just staying up, just staying elusive. It's almost like he had a little bit of a cloak of invisibility there. Defense just not able to see him, not able to find him.
They'll go heavy set again here. 1st and goal from the 4. A long 1st and goal. Still have 2 timeouts to the fleet. Give Ezekiel Love in the crowd. Not going to get there. Gets halfway there and no more.
Yeah, and now this is really where sort of the puzzle of clock management begins. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the half. 1 timeout, and you really think you have to save that timeout to go for a field goal. It'll be an interesting moment here.
It will go heavy set again. Love, not necessarily a power back. They would like the fullback to clean it out here. Give Love. Love not going to get there. And now Portland had a decision to make on 3rd and goal with 20 seconds to go. They elect not to use the timeout. We'll see what Love can do here. 3rd and goal, and he's in! Touchdown Fleet, they hammer it home.
Wow, and that is just a show of trust for this Portland team and Ezekiel Love. Very, like you said, you could very easily decide to call the timeout and just go for the 3, but they draw up instead a play for Ezekiel Love to just go up the middle, and that's really something that they've struggled with, is Carolina just closing up the middle, but Ezekiel Love finds the space, finds the hole, and blows it open. He is explosive even when it's not huge yardage, even when it's just a couple, he can still blow it up the middle there.
Daniel Long leading the way from the fullback position, sets up Ezekiel Love for his 3rd touchdown of the day. 19 carries, 123 yards, and they leave Carolina only 16 seconds to try and get on the board. A 13-play, 74-yard drive.
Yeah, and this is gonna be really tricky for Carolina. On that play, 3 minutes and 28 seconds in quarter 2, the start of that drive for Portland, and they've drained it all the way down to 16 seconds. So, not only do you get the 7 points if you're Portland, but you're putting Carolina in a position where they don't have much time to respond.
Return here. Avalos will spin and get out to the 28. Carolina does have Whistle Jones, who has quite the leg. And we'll see if Matt South can work him with 2 timeouts into field goal range, or if they can even get in range to try a Hail Mary attempt.
Well, we've certainly seen Matt South with some of these long passes here, so it's not out of the range of possibility, but you've got to be very cautious about turnovers. Portland have struggled to get the turnovers they need, but that doesn't mean that they're not able to get them.
Gun bunch left here. South moves in the pocket. Will just dump it off to Logan Jack. Jack off of 1. Shakes back inside. Logan Jack still fighting forward and ended up burning 6 seconds. Might have been better to just drop that one.
Yeah, that really is just as good of a job of Portland to drain the clock as it was a good pitch and catch. And we're gonna see a Hail Mary, I believe. Harish Prasad calling his man over to the sideline.
I think they're out of range, so they're going to have to call a play in the playbook instead of a Hail Mary. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be their deepest shot that they got in the book, so we'll see what Carolina lines up with. They will put everyone on the line. No receivers on the field. Single back is Logan Jack against a 4-3 in Portland's defense. They are going to look to throw, and Sal takes a huge hit, a sack in the backfield. Only the 3rd of the season for Matt South, and it's Gary Burney who adds to his collection. Had 3.5 coming into the game, now at 4.5.
Yeah, that all go, leaving him wide open there. That is quite a emphatic way to end this half for the Portland defense.
Portland was able to fight their way back in front 21-17. Let's take a look at the numbers. Alden, what jumps out to you the most?
Well, I really think this has been a transformative performance for Portland. They go into this game winless, and, we talk about sometimes about how the result is not always the full story of the game. And Portland have shown plenty of promise on both offense and defense. They have these future All-Stars and current All-Stars, but they just have not been able to get the results of the season. I think this game they're showing a lot of consistency. OJ Bruin and Ezekiel Love are a 1-2 punch for Portland's defense, and although they still are looking for turnovers, they have done a great job of being stern and not allowing much from this Carolina offense, or not as much as has been possible.
Both teams very similar. Logan Jack, 11 carries, 8.5 yards a carry, and 1 score on the ground. Ezekiel Love, 19 carries, 6.5 yards per carry, and that might be the difference, Alden, is that Logan Jack has been more involved in the passing game at times than on the ground, and he's very effective on the ground. They might want to hand him the ball off a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Ezekiel Love has been so huge for Portland as we see him running it up the middle there again. And, it's really a question of, do you want to battle Ezekiel Love if you are this Carolina offense? And I think we're going to see this run game continue to be a big point of emphasis for both teams.
Leading receiver for Carolina is Logan Jack, 5 catches, 30 yards. Leading receiver for Portland, Gene Valentine, 5 catches, 46 yards. Both quarterbacks completing over 80% of their passes, over 9 yards per attempt. South, the 1 touchdown, no picks. OJ Bruin, no touchdowns, no picks. And it'll be South who starts with the football. After this Avalos return, which is a good one. Sam Avalos out across the 35 to the 37. The Skyhawks in great field position to start it off.
Wow, and that really is huge. I'm not sure. I would have to look at these exact statistics, but I believe that is the best starting field position for Carolina this game in terms of yards. And this is maybe the big boost that they need to this offense here.
5 wide, Matt South alone in the shotgun. Portland will rush 4. Here is South going to take the deep shot on the corner route and throws an interception! Picked off by Chris Stock.
Wow, well, we've been talking about all game about how Portland really need to start generating turnovers. And, we you talked earlier about how tall ball has been the order of the day here. We're seeing tall ball on defense now. He just goes up and grabs the ball out of the air before the receiver can get to it.
Huge play for Portland that could turn the tide of tonight's game. Second interception of the season for Stock. A huge play, and now Ezekiel Love will try and counter it. Has a good run, picks up 7 on first down.
Ezekiel Love just using his athleticism like he has been all game. And oh man, this really feels like a different ball game now. Carolina had great field position and we're starting to move a little bit. And now all of a sudden it's Portland getting another chance.
2 in the backfield. Love offset to the left. They will give him the run right up the middle, and that's not doing. 3rd and 4. The Skyhawks set up here with a nice chance to end this drive. Phil Hall makes the tackle.
Well, that would be absolutely what they're looking for here is a stop. I mean, you really have to step up and get the ball back for your offense, whether it's a turnover or whether it's a turnover on downs. I mean, you just cannot let Portland make this a two-score ball game.
2 receivers top of the screen. Single back is Love looking to throw. Bruin under pressure feels it. Fires outside. Caught. Tackle is made, and they will mark him well short of the sticks. Nice play out there by Vasquez. Off script play for Portland. They just couldn't get to the first down marker.
Yeah, lots of coverage all the way down the field there in the secondary, just having to find anyone who's open. And, well, this is a great stop for Carolina. I mean, a very close game. You really cannot afford to let it get to 2 scores. And they hold on here after the potentially disastrous interception.
Avalos will only get him out to the 22. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the SFL. And you can get Simulation Football League mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica team jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6, 97 Sports Promotions, and the SFL. I'm actually wearing Sector 6 Simulation Football League basketball shorts right now, and that's a visual none of you needed. One straight look, fire from South. Harish Prasad has entered the game with a completion out to the 34.
Well, and another, this is how they've really been drawing up these passing plays. Have Carolina finding space up the middle and not necessarily being too concerned about coverage, just finding these receivers in spaces where they can get the ball around coverage with these routes.
First catch for Prasad today goes for 12 yards. Held him at zeros, did Portland, through the first half. Here is South going to fire it out. We've heard from Logan Jack now in this half, and he picks up 9 with blockers out in front. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Well, as we said during halftime, Logan Jack possibly looking to become a bigger part of the running game this half. He really has been using his speed and athleticism as a receiver this game. To be entirely fair to Carolina, as we say, these designed outlet passes becoming a bigger and a bigger part of SFL offenses as the seasons go by.
South fires outside, one-handed grab, turning back inside. I think that is Vince DeSantis. It is. He has first down yardage to the 49.
Well, that was almost what we saw with a Portland play previously. Going a bit off script and almost moving backwards, but fortunately able to keep it across the line there. And they're marching. They're past the 50 now.
Indeed, they are out to the 49. 2 receivers wide. Here's South to throw. Fires out to Jack. Jack has room, and Jack will pick up 6, and it'll be 2nd and 4. There's a look at Logan Jack's numbers. The 1 touchdown on through the air tonight, also has 1 on the ground.
Well, and basically, even with one of the key receivers for Portland is Logan Jack. I mean, that really is a bit exceptional to see this many targets and this many yards for a halfback being slotted in as a receiver.
He's got good yards per carry, 8.5 tonight, and they'll give him another one here right up the middle. That time, Jack only picks up a couple. It'll bring up 3rd and 3, the Fleet with a chance to get off the field.
Well, and Portland, we talk about that defensive rhythm that really has been where Portland have been doing well is their ability to force teams into awkward third downs and potentially kick or punt from awkward distances.
South wants the deep shot. It's incomplete. Fired up the route to the tight end, and the coverage was there, and it brings up 4th and 3, and I think Carolina has to punt from here.
I believe it would be a very long field goal, but we saw there, just very tight coverage. Portland already have one takeaway this half, and very tight coverage there almost led to another tip.
We will see if Desmond Doss can pin the Portland Fleet back. Leo Morris, the cornerback, is back to try and return it. This kick is angled towards the top sideline. It's going to bounce at the 7, bounce down at the 3, and into the end
Ooh.
zone. The special teams of Carolina lost their balance.
So close there to pinning him on the 1 or the 2. That really is an opportunity that you've got to capitalize on if you're Carolina. Portland now getting the ball at the 20, but oh man, that's one of those moments that haunts you as a special teams player if it ends up being the difference.
O.J. Bruin, 14 of 17 tonight. 17 passes, 21 carries. Make that 22 as Love will pick up another 4. Fairly balanced is the offense, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been seeing a lot this season that Ezekiel Love has been one of the major contributors for their offense, but we're really seeing the ball being spread around basically the same amount of yards between OJ Bruin and Ezekiel Love here.
Little bit in the favor of Love, and I think Portland wants it that way. A little bit of a high snap. Love, or excuse me,
Oh,
that's O.J. Bruin who gets bottled there at the 17-yard line and then gets danced over. Oh my, Phil Hall. No respect between those two.
man, and Phil Hall just folding him in half. Oh my goodness. OJ Bruin got his legs taken out from under him here. The pressure sent up the middle by Carolina, paying dividends there. Oh man, and this is a long third down, third and a country mile to go.
Got to be careful as these guys try and pin their ears back again to rush. Here's the pressure, and he's dropped again! That
Wow.
time, John Neville's got to him.
Wow, and what a cohesive performance by Carolina's defense here, just sending the pressure, applying the coverage, and Portland are going to have to punt from deep in their own end zone here.
Dominic Birkin has his heels on the end zone here in Raleigh. Got to be careful with the snap. Got to be careful with Carolina bringing pressure. A little bit of a low snap. Birkin gets it away. Can Avalos put some magic on the turf? Spins once, and he's out to the 42. And just like that, Carolina in better field position than they were when they had to punt.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. If they can get a couple first downs here, they're within field goal range at that point, and then it's not only is it still a one score game, it's an opportunity where another field goal, they don't even need a touchdown at that point to take the lead.
Split backs in the backfield, 2 receivers, bottom of the screen. South will float it across the middle. Harish Prasad snatches it out for a first down. Dangerous throw, big catch.
Yeah, man, and we saw the tight coverage from Portland, resulting in a turnover and almost a tip last drive, but just an athletic stab at it there. My goodness.
3 back in the backfield. Logan Jack, the far man. Hattori Hanzo stands in front of him. They'll give it to Jack off this right side. Jack through the first one, through the second. First down to the 20.
Well, and a bit of toughness there shown. I mean, I certainly saw some plenty of contact on that first tackle attempt. Logan Jack taking it to the outside, and you're going to see there, yeah, thrown off balance a little bit. Ultimately leads to that tackle, but showing great fortitude just to stay up through that first contact.
Logan Jack, 5'11", 210, seventh season in the Simulation Football League, trying to have the best one of his career. Here is the flip out to Jack. Jack will take it off this left-hand side, escapes the first, only picks up 3 on that throw, though, 2nd and 7.
Well, and it's really going to be a challenge for Portland to tighten up here. Carolina almost within the red zone, very easily within field goal range here, and Portland are going to be looking for a takeaway here, whether it's a fumble or an interception.
2 receivers, bottom of the screen, 4-3 look out of Portland. Here is the throw deep down the middle, caught! Oh, wow! DeSantis goes up and over the defender and down to the 2.
Well, and really that this seems to be the theme of the night. Tall ball offense on the passing game, just finding space in the middle where he just has an air zone that Matt South can put it in. That really has been what both teams have been doing in their passing game.
Goal line look here for Portland. Give up the middle. Logan Jack not going to get there that time. The Fleet brought the everything and the kitchen sink, and it's good enough to stop Logan Jack.
Well, this has really been what Portland have been doing well on defense. You know, they really have had lots of pressure, but especially these goal line stands have worked out really well for them, and they're off to a good start here.
Single back in the backfield is Logan Jack. Got to watch the screenplay out of a play like this. Here comes the pressure. They got the screen covered, and Matt South is dropped. Beautiful coverage from Portland as they send the man defense over, and Chris Stock covers Logan Jack, and it's Kona who gets in to make the sack.
Well, as you said, I mean, they just covered the swing route there. There was really no way for anyone to be open there. That was drawn up for Logan Jack, and it ends up in a coverage sack there.
South to throw on 3rd and goal. Wide open completion. Touchdown, Skyhawks. Just when all look lost, Sam Avalis hauls it in for 6.
Man, and this is such a back and forth game. Really, we've seen a combination of this tall ball style and athleticism there. Just a great corner route, exposing the little gap up there in the secondary, and that is a great job. Veteran presence from Matt South here.
And Carolina back out in front as these two teams trade back and forth between who's in control. And this might be one of those games, Alan, where the last team to hold the ball is the one who comes away with the victory.
Yeah, certainly clock management going to be a big part of this game. That is the second lead change, I believe, or the first. Really both of these teams have been either scoring or turning the ball over, and this is just going to come down to the wire. It really feels like one of those games.
Carolina, the favorite by 3.5 points, currently find themselves up by 3. Jack's data keeping these numbers right where they need to be. Also sitting at 45 at the over-under, which is set at 51. So really nice job by the team over at Jack's data for doing what they do and giving us the lines. And a really good job by both of these teams. I'll say it here in the third, but a great job by both of their coaching staffs in preparing, Alden, because these two teams match up really well, and it's been quite the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of these teams finding new ways to succeed on offense and defense. Really a credit not only to the talent of these teams, but the talent of their coaches.
Here is Ezekiel Love. Lowers the shoulder and picks up 4. Well, and he's closing in on 150 tonight, Alvin. And we're still in the third quarter. He's still got a good 13 minutes of football game left.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even really seen one of these or multiple of these, big explosive runs that Ezekiel Love is known for. He busts off a big run for a touchdown. We could see that expand by even more.
Love will pick up another 5. Yeah, you're right. His long of the night is 35 yards, according to Rochelle and Tom in the stats truck. And, I mean, 35 is nothing to scoff at, but it's certainly not a 50 or a 60-yard run, which we're used to seeing Ezekiel Love produce on almost a nightly basis.
Yeah, really Ezekiel Love capable of these sort of miraculous runs. And, again, I do think that's credit to the Carolina defense that he's been held to less yards than usual.
Ooh, they're going to say he did not get that first down. And similar to a play earlier in the game, I think that one could be challenged. It was really close.
Yeah, and really, I think the one reason we didn't see the challenge flag is because they had determined to use their timeout, but it looks like they're just going to punt this one away.
Yeah, got to be careful of burning too many timeouts in the second half. You might need those later down the line. Instead, they'll send on Dominic Birkin, second punt in a row for Birkin. Kick is away, and Carolina's Sam Abeles, who just caught the touchdown, will collect it at the 34.
Well, this is a much more manageable field position for Portland, although, you can't take away from Carolina that they have been so successful at moving the ball down the field, between Matt South and his receivers, Logan Jack acting as both a receiver and a halfback, 105 combined yards here.
3 receivers out. South going to take a 5-step drop. Rainbows right side. Caught down the sideline. A foot race. And the huge run after catch is made all the way down to the 19. It's the Skyhawks with a huge play. It's Heath McDaniel Jr. again.
Well, and man, we really talked about before this game how Heath McDaniel Jr. is in some ways, a veteran presence just as Matt South is. He's really a big part of this offense and doing a great job running the out route there to get the ball in his hands. We've seen just as much as, oh my goodness, and I believe they're challenging that this was a catch.
They're going to check his foot, and now the question is, are they challenging whether his foot was in when he caught it or whether he stepped out on his way down the sideline? Because one could be, the potential of a first down but nothing more. The other is taking a completion off the board completely. And there, he's out. Yeah, at some point there, he's out. I guess the question then is just whether it was a first down or not, and Carolina fans here in the stadium will not like that one, but I think it is the right call. But we'll see what Stripes has to say here. Ref 62 will call it, and it is in favor of Portland, and we will have to check where they spot the ball after this to know exactly what was challenged.
Yeah, and that was certainly a catch. I don't think that's in question, but a good challenge there, really, for Portland to limit the damage. They're back behind the 50, it looks like.
2 receivers on the line, 2 tight ends as well to the top of the formation. Single back is Logan Jack. Here is the throw out to Jack. Jack will spin back inside and pick up 3, and they did give him the catch. It was a first down.
Well, and that was a really well drawn out route by Carolina. Just a little bit of trouble staying in bounds there. I mean, you've really got to stick tight to the sidelines as you're trying to outrun the defense there.
3 receivers, bottom of the screen in a trips tight formation. South Rainbows to the corner. Caught. Harish Prasad. Say goodbye. Touchdown, Skyhawks.
And the determination by Matt South and this Carolina offense. They had a big play taken away from them on the challenge, and they determined that they were going to go back down the field and get it. Harish Prasad running a long vertical route. He gets him in space, breaks this tackle, turns on the Jets, and a foot race. He was not going to be caught once he had that ball. Playing with pride, our Carolina.
A 45-yard touchdown pass. The Skyhawks go 3 plays, 66 yards. And Harish Prasad says, hey, I think I was in bounds on that one. Skyhawks extend the lead now 9 points, trying to make it a full 2-score, 10-point lead. Here is Whistle Jones just at the end of the third quarter. Snap down, extra point is up and good. And we have really seen Carolina come alive in this second half, Alvin.
Well, this is really the breakthrough that I think they were looking for all game. You know, it's really been a back and forth struggle. Portland looking to consistently score, Carolina looking to consistently score, and it seems like both teams have either scored or either turned the ball over. And Carolina are finally firing up on defense, firing up on offense. Excuse me.
Here is the return from Leo Morris. Morris will only get out to the 21. Drives tonight in the second half. Carolina threw the pick. Each team punted once. Portland punted it again back to the Skyhawks. Skyhawks had a 9-yard touchdown pass to Sam Avalos. After a Portland punt, they went right back to Harish Prasad via the air there and have taken a 31-21 lead. Skyhawks clawing their way back out in front here at home. Now Portland needs to answer. First play is a give, and Ezekiel Love is going nowhere. Kane Vasquez in on the tackle along with Shravan Prasad.
Well, and perhaps one of the biggest things for Carolina on that previous touchdown drive is it only took 49 seconds.
End of the third here in Raleigh. A 10-point lead for the hometown Carolina Skyhawks. Let's see those 4s and 86s in the Twitch chat. It's the SFL presented by APM Music. Andy Hamilton along with Alden Bleeker, Simulation Football League. This is season 18 of the SFL presented by APM Music, and this is your fourth quarter. OJ Bruin fires outside to start this thing off, and that is a first down.
Well, in Portland, really looking to fire back here. You know, Carolina, as we said previously, that touchdown drive only took 49 seconds, and a great connection there by OJ Bruin on the deep corner out there.
APM Music, unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack provider of the SFL. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. We almost needed some treacherous danger music on that throw because it almost went for a pick six there. Dangerous throw from Bruin.
Yeah, and really OJ Bruin has had to make some dangerous passes this game and really tends to be sort of an aggressive passer in general. He really has been able to make it work here, but that was almost a turnover there.
Two in the backfield, they'll give it to Love, and he is wrestled down in the backfield. Carolina coming up with big play after big play. That is as big as any of them, as John Neville's, and I believe that might have been Cologne there in the backfield.
Well, Ezekiel Love has been, I believe, has put up all 3 touchdowns for Portland here, and Carolina have done a fantastic job of responding to him this half.
Bruin underneath. That's not going to get it done. 4th and 5. This Carolina defense really shutting down Portland in the second half.
Yeah, and really, you know, we're seeing the opposite. You know, in the first half, OJ Bruin and Ezekiel Love were running this offense, but now it seems like Carolina have found the answer, and it's gonna take some real innovation from Portland to get back on track, I think.
Birkin will punt it again. Here is Avalos, who will spin and just stick down at the 30. And now, Alden, they'll need this Portland defense to try and stop this offensive unit. And that it's a tall task to ask this defense to do, and they've struggled here in the second half to do so in the last couple drives.
Yeah, I really think Portland have sort of been thrown off tempo, and they really need to continue to be stern and continue to find turnovers here.
Oh, deep shot. Oh, Harish Prasad with the catch. South led him just too much by maybe a foot. It would have been 6 had it not been. It's still a big play for the boys in blue and red.
Man, and this really feels like these teams have almost switched the uniforms. I mean, Harish Prasad running up the middle there, that's really what the Portland offense have been doing so well in the first half, and they're marching down the field like Portland were in the first half. This is really a Freaky Friday situation that I feel like we're going through here.
Harish Prasad, no catches first half, second half up to 100 yards and a score. Never doubt the man wearing 89. South, deep drop, checks it down to Jack. Logan Jack,
Oh,
spin cycle on half the defense and picks up 7.
doing his best Ezekiel Love impression there. Earlier we saw Ezekiel Love spinning over and over there. He makes two men miss on two spins, and the third almost threatening to open him up deep there. Portland are able to get to him, but my goodness, the athleticism of these receivers and halfbacks in this game, it's really something to behold.
Give Jack up the middle, only going to get a yard. It'll bring up third and an important 3. Carolina outside of field goal range. They have to get this first down if they want to extend the lead.
Yeah, this is really a crucial moment for Carolina and for Portland on defense as well. They've done a great job of stopping this march, and they could hold them to 3 or even less potentially here.
Split back, single receiver spread out. Look out for the tight end here. They will flip it to him. DeSantis catches, runs back inside, and didn't get there.
Oh, that is so huge for Portland, and I think they read that play where that was going. DeSantis on the outside, having some space for himself, but just closed down immediately by Portland, and they're going for it.
Offense still out on the field, kind of in no man's territory here. They will snap it. Jack is stuffed! Logan Jack is going backwards, and Mel Davis will get the ball back for Portland.
How Portland, one of the hugest plays in this game, they just send pressure up the middle on the sides, and that is a turnover on downs. They are starting in fantastic field position to boot.
Huge play for this Fleet team on the road if they want to turn things around. 2 receivers, bottom of the screen, 4-3 look out of Carolina. The linebacker showing blitz. Will they bring it? Bruin to throw. Will fire outside. Caught Valentine. Picks up 6.
And it's really gonna be so this is still a two-score ball game. And really you have to you have to think about clock management here, because not only do you have to score on this drive, you also have to score again in the future. And so I really think this is gonna be a case of Portland either trying to score fast or get the ball back immediately. We're gonna have to see which it is.
2 backs in the backfield. This does not lead me to believe they're going to throw. They'll give it to Love. Love lowered the shoulder, did not get the first down. 3rd and inches.
Oh man, what a huge stop this would be if Carolina get one right back. Like we said, two-score ball game, and we have more time left in this quarter than not. But you really do have to start managing the clock here soon. And Portland, I think, need this conversion. They really do.
Give Love, stretches left side with room. Ezekiel Love, first down and more to the 40.
And Ezekiel Love just doing a great job opening up on the outside. A high pressure situation for Portland, but Ezekiel Love doing what he knows he can, breaks one tackle, following his blocks to the outside. I mean, it's just been one of those situations where Ezekiel Love engages in a foot race with the defense, and they barely catch up to him.
Love has 29 touches today, 152 yards, 3 scores for Love, 5.2 yards per tote. They'll give it to him again, and that time he's dropped. Not going to go anywhere on that one. Phil Hall got him.
And perhaps just as relevantly, the clock continues to move here for Portland. Again, clock management really going to be big down the stretch here for Portland in a two-score game. This is potentially maybe Carolina able to continue to keep the clock moving. That's just as good.
Second and long, 2 in the backfield again. They'll give it to Love. They pull a guard, and Love not going to go anywhere. 3rd and 11, and you hit it on the head out. You got to be careful of the clock here. I know Ezekiel Love is your playmaker, but if you do not score on this drive, this is your chance right here.
Yeah, absolutely. That really is the thing. OJ Bruin and Ezekiel Love are great performers, but this is a situation where they really, really need to get a score here.
Fire outside, catch made, down to the 33. From there, it would be a 49-yard field goal attempt. Is it in the range for the young kicker, Waters?
I think if you don't go for a field goal here, I think you have to go for it because, the average drive in this particular
Oh,
game is, oh my.
the punter is on. Dominic Birkin will try and pin Carolina deep with 5 minutes and less, or just barely over 5. And it's blocked! It's blocked by the Skyhawks. Picked up by Portland. They will not get the first down. Carolina takes over at midfield.
And this is one of the most important special teams plays I think we've seen all season. That gets knocked far back on the block, and Carolina are starting directly at midfield with time to melt off the clock here potentially.
I think that's Mark Martin with the block. I'm going to say that it was. He has the blue sleeves. We'll go back and check it out. You can clip that one right here on Twitch. Flip out, Logan Jack picks up 4, but you hit the nail on the head out, and that might just be the ball game there with that block if Carolina can get into field goal range.
Yeah, and Matt South and we've seen passing very well here in the second half. Logan Jack has the yards, he has the passing yards that he's picked up as well. And this is a dangerous drive. Carolina threatening to ice this one.
Jack single back in the backfield on 2nd and 5. Again, the clock a huge factor, and Matt South, as the veteran, is taking all the time off of it that he can. Flips out to Jack. Jack will pick up a couple. Coverage of the Simulation Football League on Next Level Sports continues next Saturday, February 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Louisiana and Atlanta clash in a fight for the always crowded top of the East Division. Then Mexico City and Baltimore out for vengeance after the Vultures scored 10 in the final 2 minutes of last season's semifinal en route to their second title. Will the Aztecs halt the Vultures' recent reign of dominance? Visit NLSE.com to find Next Level Sports in your area. This one will go out to Logan Jack, and in his area, he tries to get the edge and will not. Huge stop for Portland. They needed that.
Yeah, it's still going to be very, very lean for Portland. They're going to have to manage this clock pretty aggressively and move pretty fast down the field. But stopping them short of a field goal is absolutely massive. That means they can get. That means they can get. That means this is still a 2-score game. I mean, that is the most important thing for Portland.
Desmond Doss had trouble pinning Portland back earlier in the game. Can he do so now? The rookie, undrafted, 6'2", 214, gets the punt away, angles it towards this near sideline. It'll bounce at the 8. It's going to bounce at the 4, and it will die right at the 2. Huge play from Desmond Doss.
Wow. And Portland, as if their offense did not have a difficult enough situation that they're stepping into here, starting from the 2-yard line, having to worry about a safety. I mean, we've seen Carolina sending pressure all game, and they have got to go 98 yards, and then they've got to get the ball back. This is a huge challenge for Portland here.
Pressure's on for OJ Bruin. 17 of 21 today. Make that 18 of 22. Completes and gives them a little breathing room out to the 6.
They have to go clock at least until the 2-minute warning.
Here is the throw. Bruin again fires outside. Valentine picks up another 3. 3rd and a yard. Carolina in the nickel defense will get set. Here is the throw. Another one out to Valentine, and he's out of bounds. 2:21 to go. A very smart play from Valentine to catch it and get out of bounds.
Yeah, and a great job by OJ Bruin running the game there, just getting these passes, trying to get his men towards the sideline. And we've really seen, Gene Valentine has not been, the hugest contributor to this game, but he has been targeted 13 times and caught 10. Those catches for small yards can be huge in situations like this.
Oh, they're going to run Ezekiel Love before the 2-minute warning. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's questionable.
They'll run him again. Why not? Love up the middle is only going to get out to the 28, and they are going to take that one to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Portland down by 10, trying to fight their way back into it on the road. I'm Andy Hamilton. Joining me in the booth, Alden Bleeker, Tom Rahman, and Rochelle Colston running the stats truck, keeping us honest here in the booth. 3rd and 6 for Portland in 4-down territory, down by 2 scores. Bruin, 20 of 24 tonight, will throw for the 25th time, and he wants the rainbow down the middle, and he's got the rainbow down the middle. He finds the pot of gold at the 46 to Israel Adams.
Well, they've been chipping away, just trying to get down the field here. And OJ Bruin, to his credit, has had plenty of deep passes, not only in this game, but in this season. We saw a Hail Mary into quadruple coverage earlier this game, or earlier this season, excuse me, that although it did not lead to them winning that game, it was a huge high pressure situation where he stepped up and performed. And we may be seeing OJ Bruin continuing to bust out these long passes here.
Bunch formation, Bruin to throw again, fires complete underneath. That'll pick up 8. Now, Portland did use a timeout, which means they only have 2 left in the bag for the rest of the game, which means they probably need the onside even if they do score. 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom in a bunch. Here is the throw outside. That one's deflected away. Oh, my, and it almost went the other way for Carolina. Daniel Valentine almost called game. I think he was working on the other Valentine, Gene.
Yeah, and that would be just such a backbreaker for Portland to turn it over now. I mean, you're already talking about being in 4-down range and having to run clock every play. A turnover, I think, would just be the end. You could kneel it out if you're Carolina at that point.
Play action, Bruin fires, tipped away, incomplete. Huge play by Shravan Prasad there, who rises to the challenge.
Well, it feels like we've seen lots of plays that could be the end of this game. Another great job on the tight coverage there. And 4th down, I think you have to go for it. I think there's no way you punt it in a 2-score game.
Only need 3 yards to pick up the 1st down. If I am the offensive coordinator, I'm calling 1 or 2 deep routes and 1 right across the middle just to pick up the 1st down yardage. Minute 32 left to go here. Play action for Bruin. Stands in the pocket, fires outside, caught. That is 1st down and a little bit more as Adams is shouldered out of bounds, and that's exactly what they did. Great play call.
Yeah, absolutely. You really have to get these routes to the sidelines. Even if it means that you're not going to pick up huge swaths of yardage. Realistically, clock management is just as important as getting down the field. You're already in onside kick territory. You've got to leave yourself with as much time as possible.
4 receivers wide. Gun quads left look here. Fires across the middle. Picked off! Cain Vasquez says, see you later. The ship's in the harbor. The Skyhawks are going to take this one.
And this has been such a stern defensive performance by Carolina here coming down the wire. I mean, we've seen tight coverage. We've seen at least 2 swats and just OJ Bruin just falling under the pressure here. Puts the ball right in the hands of a Carolina defender, and Carolina are in barring a historically bad turnover, are looking like they're going to win this football game.
It was a tall task for Bruin and that offense to get 10 points in under 3 minutes, and they tried their best to get down the field, and for all intents and purposes, they did get down the field quicker than some of the offenses in the SFL could have. Did a really good job. Just unfortunately, we're under a situation where they had to put the ball down the field more than they probably wanted to in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Portland have really had some things to be excited about in this game. They've done much better having that two-pronged attack on offense. Although Ezekiel Love was held up, he has been performing quite well, and I think they're going to continue to try to build on this performance.
Oh, deep floater is incomplete. Bob Funk had a chance to rewrite the story here tonight. Just could not wrap his hands around it. It is incomplete, though. That does stop the clock.
Well, and that's huge. Portland really have a talented offense, and they really have struggled on that last drive. But if they could get a turnover, if they could stop them with the clock stopped, or even potentially using this last timeout, they then give themselves a chance.
Here is the give. Right side, Logan Jack is stuffed, and Portland will take their last timeout with 1:08 to go here in the fourth. And well, hold the phone. We're not done.
Well, yeah, no, never say never. Everyone on these teams are professionals. There's a reason that they're in this league. If Portland get this ball, they're going to have about a minute left on the clock. They could potentially move it down the field either for a field goal or a touchdown. Then they have to get an onside kick or a very quick turnover.
Desmond Doss, who was the hero earlier, pinning Portland deep, flips the field here. Huge punt from Doss.
Wow.
Oh, someone go regulate that weapon of a leg he has.
Yeah, and man, that that is I don't think we saw on the previous drive before this, we saw Portland starting from inside their own end zone and getting that far down the field. But oh man, this is so tough. Less than a minute on the clock for Portland to get it a little over 50 yards.
Three receivers wide here for O.J. Bruin. They are definitely going to be in hurry-up mode if it's caught inbounds. Bruin moves up, fires off his back foot. Almost caught. Oh, my God. That would have been the play of the week. Forget everything else, and it's incomplete. Just barely. Valentine tried to make the one-handed grab.
Yeah, and Gene Valentine historically has been one of the most important receivers for this Portland offense. I mean, does a great job running the corner route, but you see,
Oh, God.
you see number 33 for Carolina. That is a Monte Wyatt just able to get over to him there, and what looked like was going to be a deep pass is snuffed out by Carolina.
Four receivers wide. Dime look here out of the Carolina Skyhawks. Plenty of defensive backs on the field. Bruin fires underneath, incomplete again. And Alden, you almost would like to get a 20, 30-yard pass here, clock it, and kick the field goal right away in the interest of time.
Yeah, I think that's actually almost certainly what you would want to do. Either maybe even draw up a deep run for Ezekiel Love. This is a game where you're hurting. You need to think outside the box and maybe even draw up one of these swing passes that Carolina have been using so heavily this game.
Four receivers wide. Here is Bruin on a five-step drop, fires underneath, caught well short of the sticks, and the clock's going to run here. They have to go for this fourth down.
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
This will be the ball game if they can't reach the 45-yard line of Carolina. Bruin under center. Clock now down to 32 seconds, 31. Bruin, deep drop, will fire outside, caught. Good for first down yardage on the boundary, but tackled inbounds is Benjamin Warner. Clocks it there. Bruin does at the 45, and I don't think you can try a field goal from here.
Yeah, this would be a very long, very, very, very long field goal. And oh man, you don't want to count Portland out, but they are starting to run out of time very, very quickly, even more so than before.
It would take a lot here, but O.J. Bruin is not going to flinch. The second-year man, will take the shotgun snap, fire outside, and that's deflected away. That could have been another pick. Tristan Hatley couldn't get his hands on it.
Yeah, this is really what you're going to see, I think, for the rest of this drive. Just tight one-on-one coverage from Carolina, not really using these zones and affording an opportunity for the Portland receivers to run routes that blow that up.
15 seconds here, 3rd and 10, and they are going to start taking Hail Marys here, even with 15 seconds to go. Carolina only has 3 on the line. They'll bring a late secondary member. Bruin pumps once, pressure coming, and he's dropped in the backfield. That one might finish it out. John Neville's with the sack, and it will. Carolina is going to improve to 500 with their 2nd win of the season, a 31-21 victory over the Portland Fleet.
Well, as we said going into this game, this is now the first matchup in their history to be decided by more than 6 points. And, you know, to be fair, this was a back and forth game the entire way.
A tale of 2 halves. The first half went the way of the Portland Fleet. The second half, the Carolina Skyhawks at home come out on fire. The Fleet did not score in the second half. It was a 2-touchdown run by Carolina in order to put this game away. They were down at the break. They came back and put it on top. Matt South throwing 2 second-half touchdowns. And that was really the difference, Alden, was the play of Carolina in the second half.
Yeah, and really, you know, we've seen a lot of improvement from Portland in this game, you know, not to take anything away from them here. You know, we saw 3 touchdown runs from Ezekiel Love. OJ Bruin, you know, although he's continued to face pressure, has been quite a bit more consistent. And, you know, really a fantastic job, you know, this innovative offense of Matt South throwing to Logan Jack, you know, really the continued evolution of the halfback here in the SFL with these swing passes.
Your player of the game is Logan Jack there. 31 touches, 167 total yards, 2 scores, outpaced Ezekiel Love in yards per carry in the rush game. Well deserving of the player of the game. Well, for Alden Bleeker, I'm Andy Hamilton, Rochelle Colston, Tom Rahman on stats, Cameron Irvine producing. This has been another week of SFL action. We'll see you next week, and good night.